Hey, everybody, this is Darren Sabedra again, Bay Area News Group, Mercury News, East Bay Times. I am back after a few days off last week. Thank you, Joseph Dycus, for running the show.
It's my pleasure.
Guess you don't need me anymore.
No, we definitely still need you.
Also here with Christian Babcock and Nathan Canilao. We are heading into week 9. I would definitely call this the home stretch of the regular season. We got some big games coming up this weekend and over the next couple of weeks that will determine where these teams are going to end up in the postseason, and also which teams are going to celebrate league championships, which for a lot of programs, that's the number one goal when they start a season. So we've got some news. We've had some news over the weekend. Joseph, why don't you fill us in on the El Cerrito situation, which we've been talking about for a few weeks. It kind of came to a head a little bit over the weekend where the Gauchos had to forfeit 5 games and now have a 1-6 record. So tell us a little bit more.
So the school investigated itself and found that they had played some ineligible players over their first 6 games, 5 victories and the 1 loss to De La Salle. And so they decided they were going to forfeit all 5 of their wins. And their record stood at 0-6. They beat Salesian this Saturday, so now they are 1-6. But as we found out just a few minutes ago, they can still not just make the playoffs, but if they make the playoffs by winning the TCal Rock, they will probably play against the same division that De La Salle, Pittsburg, and all the other great NCS teams play in, because according to the Cal Preps / Max Preps rankings that they use to determine who the top teams are, those rankings count. If you played the game, that's what it counts as. If you won the game, then that's what it counts for in the rankings. They are not going to they're 1-6. Let's put them in Division 5.
So they're not going to, which is good. They're not going to get rewarded for losing.
Right.
They're not going to be placed in a division where they will clean up in Division 3 or 4 with a 4-6 record. And it doesn't affect the computer rankings. I saw that, Cal Preps, I think they even mentioned it or highlighted it, that how they handle forfeits, which is when you're doing computer rankings, in my opinion, that's the way to go, because if you count losses for El Cerrito in all those games, it's really going to affect where teams are rated, good or bad. So at least they're going to end up in the same spot. They may not like it. I don't know of too many NCS teams that want to be in a bracket with Pittsburg and De La Salle, and especially De La Salle. And it looks like the Gauchos, unless they end up in Division 2, will end up in that open / Division 1 bracket. So be interesting to see moving forward. Speaking of De La Salle, I know you saw them, Joseph. Nathan just saw Pittsburg. They seem to be now on a collision course to meet in the NCS Open Division Final, which would be in week 2 of the playoffs, because remember, the NCS and the CCS now have this bracket where if you lose that Open Division game in week 2 of the playoffs, you fall into the Division 1 final in the 3rd week of the playoffs. So that's how a team like Pittsburgh can make it to a state game without having to beat De La Salle. So, but anyway, Joseph, is De La Salle just firing on all cylinders right now?
They're firing on all cylinders. They're probably firing on cylinders we don't even know that they have. They were up 28-0, 5 minutes into the game. It was to call of an avalanche
against San Ramon Valley.
San Ramon Valley of all teams. Yes. Yeah. They were ready for that game. I know Pittsburgh is really, really, really good. They have so much talent. Nathan, you've seen them, I believe, the last few weeks?
Yep.
They're going to have their hands full with a De La Salle team. The secondary of De La Salle with all those Division 1 corners versus Pittsburgh's passing game, it's going to be fun to watch in a few weeks.
Nathan, do you see any way that these teams are going to get derailed before that in what seems like an inevitable clash in that Open Championship game?
No, I think De La Salle, you look at the rest of De La Salle's schedule, I don't think there's a team that can beat them. And conversely, with Pittsburgh, talking to Charlie Ramirez last week, their challenge right now is how can we stay focused and sharp because they know the bigger goal here is going to be De La Salle. So, I think that the biggest thing I think for both teams would be if they could stay healthy. I noted in my story watching Pittsburgh at Heritage that, a little bit of a injury scare with Marley Alcantara. He left the game the second quarter, finished the first half, but and they had a couple linemen go down. So I think the biggest thing probably for both teams just to make sure that they have everybody. I know both teams have tremendous depth, but you definitely want to keep your stars, your big guns into the season and into the NCS playoffs as long as possible.
Christian, we've got a big game in the WCAL this week. West Catholic athletically, where Valley Christian will be traveling up to San Francisco to play St. Ignatius. The 5:00 start up there at SI. I think I heard on one of the broadcasts that SI or whoever broadcasts is it Bay. Does anyone know? Can anyone help me out on what network it is? It's not Babcock's network. It's
in FHS.
George Devine. They do a great job.
Yes.
Well, we don't know the name.
We do not know the name. No.
All right, guys. Can someone look it up? It's based on whatever it's called. I don't want to end this show without giving them a shout out because they do a great job. But anyhow, Christian, we got a 5:00 start there because I guess the neighbors only allow a certain amount of night games there at 7:30 games there at SI, according to the broadcast that I think I remember hearing. So, Christian, Valley Christian, no relation to our Christian Babcock, will be taking on St. Ignatius on Friday night. You saw SI on last Friday against St. Francis. Valley's going to bring another running game. They're not going to bring Kingston. Obviously, they don't have Kingston on their roster. How do you see this matchup, given that you've seen both these teams play?
Yeah, well, as you said, I'm not directly related to the VC program, although Mike Machado did tell me I should stop picking against my own name, as I said on an earlier episode of the show. But yeah, two very similar teams. I think in some ways they're more similar than what St. Francis brought to the table, just because neither team has that superstar player that everyone's going to key in on. So two teams that like to play a similar style, they sort of win in similar ways. I think SI probably has a little more talent. And the last time they had that 5 p.m. start, it worked pretty well for them. They were able to overcome a 21-0 deficit against Reardon. So I think they're poised for a good game at home this week.
I'm happy to hear that Mike Machado pays attention to our show.
Yes, I was too. It's funny, you go out and you talk to these coaches and you don't know who's watching the show, but we appreciate all you guys watching, and it helps us out. So we appreciate it.
All right. Well, I'm really looking forward to seeing how that matchup goes. And if it goes Valley Christian's way, we've got an epic game in week 10 next week as St. Francis makes the trip up to the hilltop there at Valley to play.
The
Skyway. Correct. How could I forget the Skyway? Before we get to our picks, Nathan, you covered a little Monday night football, not NFL football, but high school football last night. Tell us a little bit about that experience at Skyline, which, came as a result of the fires up in the Oakland Hills over the weekend.
I think it was a very interesting experience. My first OAL game I've ever covered. So really, really great to be out there. But, what I found interesting was both coaches have NFL, connections, and they both leaned on those connections, knowing that, NFL, obviously you have some Thursday night, some Monday night, even some Saturday games late in the season. So in terms of adjusting the body clock and preparation, things like that, both coaches reached out to their NFL connects, most notably Marshawn Lynch, Marcus Peters, and Josh Johnson. Those three were helping out, Skyline a little bit in terms of just giving them some advice on how to rest the body. So I thought that was very interesting. Oakland Tech, I'll say, they won in a blowout. They look really good. I think they could give, maybe they could give Mac a little bit of competitive game at the end of the season. I don't know. That might be more.
Somebody's gone down that road before. Joseph Dycus last year wrote a cover story.
I wrote a cover story. Tech, why this is the best team since Marshawn Lynch, and then they got 40-pieced in the Silver Bowl. So,
I think we'll see. I'll see. I mean, at least from what I watched,
Don't take the bait, right, Joseph?
Don't do it.
I might have to lean on you, Joseph, because obviously you're more the OAL guy. But yeah, great experience. I think Monday night, Hey, but I think we should have, a Monday night game at least once a year. I think it is fun to see. And it was as packed as it was on a Friday. So I think that was great.
And Joseph supporting Oakland with that green and gold
Yeah,
shirt.
the now defunct Oakland A's. They should still be in Oakland. They should not be in Sacramento or Las Vegas. Let's get
There
on.
you go. You guys ready to do the picks?
Yes.
Yep.
Let's start with the Thursday game, where this team seems to always be somewhere on our radar. The Santa Teresa Saints. They will be hitting the road to take on the Lee Longhorns for a Thursday night clash in the BBAL Mountain Division. And we will start with, he's Mr. Westmont, but some people might think he's Mr. Santa Teresa. Christian, who do you got?
Yeah, Santa Teresa just keeps doing things to make us pay attention to them. And they watch the show too, so they deserve our attention. But anyway, they coming off a thrilling overtime win last week. Casey Carr, who I was able to profile last week, made some big kicks. And yeah, they played some close games. I think this one could be close, but I think they'll keep it rolling and they will win on the road.
There you go. Joseph, what do you got?
I'm back and forth on this one. I'll pick Santa Teresa. I mean, they're 6-1. They seem to have it rolling. Let's go with them. Go the Saints.
Nathan?
Yeah, I'm going with the Saints as well. I think they're rolling. I believe they're the second best public school football program there in the South Bay, maybe only to Christopher. So,
We got Los Gatos, although some people might say that, and Wilcox.
Wilcox.
I think they might be maybe a little bit better than Wilcox. That's my hot take. So, but I'm still going Santa Teresa. I forgot about Los Gatos, though. I'll give them credit there.
Christian, you're going to see Wilcox this week. Ask them what they think about that.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll find out if they watch the show or not. So,
Oh my goodness. Lefkow's taking Santa Teresa, and I'm also taking Santa Teresa. Next game on the list, we got New York Memorial 4-3 taking on Irvington 6-1. Joseph's Irvington Vikings laid an egg last week against a really good Piedmont team.
Yes, they did. Yes,
I didn't know how I should have looked more closely to see how Piedmont was doing. Clearly doing very well. Joseph, I'll let you start. Who you got in this one?
You know what? They may have not done so well last week, but I'm still on the Vikings boat, bandwagon, whatever you want to call it. I believe in Anthony Jackson, and I believe in Matt Forbes scoring at least a few touchdowns in this game. Give me the Vikings.
All right, Nathan.
Yeah, I think I was drinking the Irvington juice last week, but I'm going to drink it again, and I'm going to go Matt Forbes and Irvington to get a dub here.
Christian.
I'm going to go with Newark. I think they've played a tough schedule, and they're battle-tested, and I think they're going to be able to take this one.
Lefkow's going Newark. I am going Newark. The computer's going Newark. CalPrep says 26-17, and also CalPrep says Santa Teresa 28-12. Game 3 on the list. Public school in the South Bay, Nathan. Los Gatos. Might have heard of them. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
They're pretty good. They are 6-1 on the year, taking on Menlo School at 5-2. I'm going Los Gatos in this one. Lefkow's going Los Gatos. The computer's going Los Gatos. Closer than I had anticipated, 38-20. Christian, who you got?
Yeah, I'm not sure it's going to be that close. I will say I could see how Nathan could forget about Los Gatos as a public school. It's a pretty darn nice public school. But
True.
Yeah, and they got a pretty darn good football team, and I think they're going to win this one pretty easily.
Joseph?
Yeah, I'm not going against Los Gatos. They are going to be pretty highly seeded in the CCS playoffs in a few weeks.
Nathan?
Yeah, I'm going Los Gatos. Just too much talent on that side. I'm going to go with them here in this matchup.
And you consider them a private school, right?
That in my head, Christian, I think that's what happened. So yes, in my head, they are a private school.
Game 4 on the list. A team Nathan's familiar with, Arroyo. That's 6-1. Taking on Alameda at Thompson Field in Alameda on Friday night. I'm going with Arroyo. Lefkow's going Arroyo. The computer says Arroyo, but very close, 28-24. Christian, who you got?
Yeah, I'm going with Arroyo. They're bowl eligible now. They got their 6th win, or I think the first time in a while and they just seem to be having a special year. So I think they're going to keep it rolling.
Nathan?
Yeah, first winning season since 2011 for Arroyo, and I think they keep it going. They're going to chew the clock, and they're going to give it to their big backs here. So I will go Arroyo.
Joseph?
This is one where I can make up some ground sitting in last place. Hey, if the computer thinks it's close, Alameda, seems like year in, year out, they're one of the better teams in their league. So I'll take Alameda.
Another big game in the East Bay with James Logan at 2-5, traveling to San Leandro at 4-3. The computer says really close, and taking James Logan 22-19. I'm taking San Leandro. Lefkow's taking San Leandro. Joseph, who you got?
Yeah, I'm taking San Leandro too. They lost a crazy game to Moreau Catholic. I think they were leading, and then Moreau Catholic takes lead with like 20 seconds left. So I think San Leandro is going to win that one.
Nathan?
Yeah, I like San Leandro this one too. I mean, they have a lot of those games this year where they're like 20 seconds from winning and they drop it. So they could have easily been close to undefeated. So I'm going to take San Leandro in this one.
Christian?
Yeah, I kind of think this is the week Logan's going to turn it around. I mean, obviously they've been dealing with a lot of adversity, but again, they played a tough schedule. San Leandro's had a few games where felt like they were in good spots and weren't able to get it done. So I'm kind of feeling Logan on this one.
James Logan for Christian. All right. Game 6 on the list. Nathan, another public school in the South Bay. Wilcox.
Oh, right.
They're going to be at home where Christian's going to be taking on Sacred Heart Prep. Wilcox at 5-2. Sacred Heart Prep at 3-4. Possibly a trap game for Wilcox, given that they close with Los Gatos and Menlo-Atherton the next few weeks. So I don't think they're going to get trapped. I'm taking Wilcox to win this one. Lefkow's taking Wilcox. The computer says Wilcox big, 38-7. Christian, you're going to be there. Who you got?
Yeah, I think Wilcox is a really good team. I mean, maybe if they were on the road, you could look at a trap game situation, but they're an excellent team. They've been good all year. I mean, they had a tight loss to Valley early, and we've seen how good Valley's been. So, yeah, I think the fact that they're at home, Sacred Heart's really been up and down. They've had some solid wins, but had some struggles too. And that's, a fairly long way to go. I think Wilcox is going to roll at home.
Joseph?
Yeah, I'm taking Wilcox.
Nathan?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Wilcox in this one as well. Just think they're just a good team right now, and they're rolling.
There you go. Nathan, you're going to be at this next game. Berean Christian 5-2 against Mount Diablo 5-2. Big game in the DAL. Who you got?
I was watching Berean and their blowout win over YV, and they look good. I'm going Berean Christian in this game. I think Joshua Warner, their quarterback, is one of the more underrated talents here in the East Bay, and they are a really experienced team. So I'm gonna go with Berean.
Joseph?
Yeah, back and forth on this one. Last year, I got to see Mount Diablo play. Of course, they had Herschel Turner back then, who ran for 3,000 yards and like 50 touchdowns. But Jacory Robinson was their quarterback, very athletic, and he's a really good linebacker. Long-winded way of saying, you know what? I think Mount Diablo wins this one.
Oh, there you go. Christian?
Yeah, I think this is pretty close to a toss-up. I think, Berean probably has a lot of confidence, but the fact that they're coming off a blowout, I don't know if they'll necessarily be ready to win a close game. So I'm going to go with Mount Diablo at home.
All right. I'm going to go Berean. Lefkow's going Mount Diablo. And the computer says Mount Diablo 38-26. Game 8 on the list of the 15 we're picking is Palo Alto at 5-2, traveling to Menlo-Atherton 5-2. This is a PAL Bay Division game. I'll go first. I'm going to take MA to win at home. Lefkow's taking MA. Christian, who you got?
Yeah, I got to give it to MA. I mean, they've really made a huge turnaround. I mean, when I saw them against Midi, now there were some turnovers and some weird things in that game, but it was a shutout by multiple touchdowns. They just looked kind of shell-shocked. But, talking to Chris Saunders after the game, they seemed poised, and they've really gotten back on track. Palo Alto's coming off, really getting smacked by Wilcox. And now they have to go back on the road again. So I'm going with MA.
Joseph?
You know what? I'll go with the upset for Palo Alto. I think they win. Also, I want to plug my volleyball story about volleyball standout Sophie Pan and great volleyball player for Palo Alto. So read that story. But I think, hey, Palo Alto, they've got some weapons. They've got some talent. And
They
quick
do.
question: do we consider Atherton to be part of the South Bay?
Ooh,
Peninsula, I would think.
yeah, I'd say no.
Peninsula.
Okay.
It's in San Mateo County.
Yeah. Okay. Because I was wondering, like, South Bay schools, like
Palo
Mountain View.
Alto's borderline.
Yeah.
Palo Alto's in Santa Clara County, so
Well,
probably.
I just went up to Stanford today, and I know some people consider that the South Bay, but I feel like that's on the borderline. I mean, you're pretty much on the peninsula. If you look at it geographically, you're definitely on the peninsula.
Exactly.
I
There's
like
definitely
Mountain View
water there.
But all right, sorry.
All right,
Sorry
so-
for derailing.
Got a little off track. So you're taking
Palo Alto.
Nathan. Who you got?
I got in this one. I got MA. I think the defense is going to be a little bit. I think it's just going to wear down on that Palo Alto offense. So give me MA.
All right, I'm taking MA. Lefkow's taking MA. The computer has MA big. I don't know if Palo Alto is going to be held to 6 points, but the computer says 27-6.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
All right. Game 9 on the list. Silver Creek at 4-3, traveling to Piedmont Hills 5-2. I've got Piedmont Hills winning. Lefkow's got Piedmont Hills winning. The computer has Piedmont Hills winning 31-12. Christian, who you got?
Yeah, I gotta say, I saw Silver Creek before the season when I was following McDonald around, and they looked really good. But they've had some struggles this year, and Piedmont has just been getting it done week after week. So give me Piedmont at home.
All right. Joseph?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Piedmont Hills. Shout out to Silver Creek for always reading our coverage, but I'm gotta go with Piedmont Hills on this one.
Nathan?
I'm also going to go with Piedmont Hills. I think they got a really good W last week against Pioneer. I think they're rolling. So yeah, give me Piedmont Hills.
All right. This next one was pretty tough to pick. This team that starts with an L has burned me a couple of times. They're going to be at home to play Miramone. It's Las Lomas against Miramone in another one of those La Marinda clashes. We seem to have one every week. I'm going to let you go first, Joseph. Who do you got?
I think Miramone's got something this year, and I think Las Lomas, whatever they had to start the year, they do not have it anymore. So, yeah, I think Miramone they've got a pretty good offense. They have some good athletes. I think the Matadors win this one.
Nathan?
Yeah, it goes back to that Northgate loss. I think that was just really crushing. So I'm going to go Miramonte, take Carson Blair in that offense in this game.
Christian?
I don't know. I picked Las Lomas last week. I got burned pretty bad. I just feel like at some point there's just too much there, and they're going to snap out of their funk. So I'm going to go with them this week.
I feel exactly like Christian does. I took them last week, got burned badly. Who'd they play? Campo, maybe?
Campo,
I think it was
yes.
Campo.
Campo
Yes.
finally got their Kevin Macy win.
I just think that this is the week that they are not going to lose to another La Marinda team. Although Las Lomas is in Walnut Creek, so it's not La Marinda, but it's close enough. It's close enough. It's a rival.
Yeah, if you're in Walnut Creek, you feel like you're in La Marinda.
Yeah, so I'm taking Las Lomas. Lefkow's taking Miramone. The computer takes Las Lomas 31-27. So it's going to be a toss-up maybe.
Yeah.
Game 11, another tough one. A lot of tough games this week. A lot of tough games. Saratoga at 6-0-1, traveling to Jefferson 6-2. This could go a long ways towards deciding the PAL Lake Division Championship. The teams played last year, and Jefferson won 9-7. I expect a few more points Friday night. I went back and forth on this, but I'm taking Saratoga. I could get burned, but I think the Falcons are going to stay undefeated. They're 6-0-1 right now. I'm taking them to win. Lefkow's taking Jefferson. Christian, who are you taking?
Yeah, I think I got to go with Jefferson. I mean, that's a pretty long trip from Saratoga to Daly City. Saratoga's been in a few close games. I mean, they tied Monte Vista. Of course, there were some unfortunate circumstances that caused them to suspend that game early. But McDonald almost took them to overtime last week. I think Saratoga's been winning, but they haven't really been dominant. So I think Jefferson's going to win this one.
Nathan?
Yeah, I'm going with Jefferson for 2 reasons. I think their O-line is legit. I think they have Joseph wrote about that in our Monday Morning Lights. I'm also going with Jefferson because my mom graduated from Jefferson, class of 1993. So I will be going with a little bit of the family ties here. I'm going with Jefferson.
You're going to go to Jefferson. I looked up their nickname.
The Grizzlies.
Yeah.
The Jefferson Grizzlies. Joseph, who you got?
Yeah, I talked to their coach, Amani Stewart. He seems like he has a good thing going there. Like Nathan said, their offensive line is the rock of that team. And hey, build your team around that. The trenches. Good idea. Give me Jefferson. I've heard it gets pretty foggy up in Daly City too. So pretty nice home field advantage.
Computer says Jefferson 27-21. So I guess I'm out on a limb taking the Saratoga Falcons to travel well and to win on the road in Daly City. We've got 4 games left to pick. We got Moreau Catholic against Bishop O'Dowd. Moreau at 5-3. O'Dowd 5-2. This game definitely has WACC Foothill Division title implications here. Moreau coming off that huge win last week over San Leandro. I went and looked. Max Preps era, Moreau is 0-5 against the Dragons. I'm taking the Dragons. Lefkow is taking the Dragons, and the computer is taking the Dragons by 17, 41-24. Nathan, do you agree with us, or are you taking Moreau?
I agree. I think Hardy Nickerson, and he's going to run, much like the Monte Vista game I went to, I think they're going to run the ball a lot, chew a lot of clock with Salusau. Give me Bishop O'Dowd in this one.
Joseph?
I really want to go with Moreau Catholic because they have some weapons on that team. But man, O'Dowd, they're just a well-coached team, and they control the ball. So I'll take the Dragons.
Christian?
Yeah, I don't see any dragon slaying going on this week. I think O'Dowd's really talented. They've been a good team pretty much all year, been consistent, and I think they got this at home.
All right. And like I said, the computer has O'Dowd winning 41-24. So it's a clean sweep for O'Dowd. 3 games left. We got Half Moon Bay 6-1, traveling to San Mateo 6-1. Half Moon Bay coming off its first loss of the season, a stunner last week, right, Joseph? To Sequoia?
Stunner, yes.
Stunner with a capital S?
Yes, actually all caps.
All caps. All caps. Will we be stunned Friday night?
When 2 6-1 teams play each other, can you be stunned?
Yeah, that's true. So who you got?
Yeah, look, maybe it's because I actually saw the team play, but I think Half Moon Bay gets it together last week. Maybe that was their version of when Wilcox lost the Burlingame inexplicably. That's just kind of a weird loss. I think Half Moon Bay wins. I think it'll be close, and I think the way those 2 teams run the ball, that's this week's version of this game may be over in an hour and a half.
Nathan?
Yeah, I'm going to go in Half Moon Bay too. I think they bounce back. They can really run the ball. And I'm going to take the Half Moon Bay here.
Christian?
Yeah, I'm going to go with what Nathan said. I remember it was a week or 2 ago. Running on the beach, getting those legs strong. They're going to be salty after that loss. So, they're going to run all the way to San Mateo. I mean, they've put up some stupid rushing numbers this year. So I think they're going to win this one.
I've got Half Moon Bay as well. Lefkow has Half Moon Bay, and so does the computer, but it says this is going to be a barn burner, 22-21. So we'll see if that comes to fruition or not. So game 14 on the list, Campolindo, a team that have made no secret that they were not happy about Clayton Valley, right? Being in its league. I mean, that's clearly not a secret. They're going to be making that trip to Clayton Valley on Friday night. Campo, according to our Monday Morning Light story, is very confident after finally putting one together and routing Las Lomas last week. They're going to be playing Clayton Valley, which I believe is coming off a heartbreaking loss, right, Joseph?
Yes, to Akalani, their first DAL loss in like 10 years or something.
They weren't in the DAL for the last 3 or 4 years, but before that, yes, correct. And they went for 2 to win the game.
Went for the
and
win.
they get it.
Which I will say, respect to any coach who plays for the win instead of playing for overtime. So
Respect to Nick Tisa. Will Nick Tisa's boys be ready, and will they take down Campo? I'm going to let you start, Joseph. Is that going to happen?
No. I think that Los Lomas win was exactly what Campolindo needed. Now they're going to start rounding into form. I'm looking forward to, I believe, was it next week is Akalani's Campolindo? I think Campo's going to go into that game with 2 straight wins.
Ooh, okay. Nathan, you agree with Joseph?
I do. I think Campolindo's like, like for any boxing fans, and they get beat up for 11 rounds, and then all it takes is one connect, and it's off to the races. It's knockout time. So I think it's Campolindo in this one.
Christian, do you agree with these guys?
Nah, I just don't know. I think Clayton's too talented. I mean, Campolindo, I'm not sure you can just flip a switch and then suddenly the light stays on, as long as you want. You got to reflip that switch every week. So I think Clayton wins it at home.
Lefkow's taking Clayton. I'm taking Clayton. The computer says Clayton by 14, 28-14. The last one on the list. We talked about this a little earlier. We got a little insight from Christian, who has seen both of these teams. Valley Christian at 5-2. Making the long trip from South San Jose, the Skyway. It takes a while just to get down the Skyway. Then they have to travel.
That is correct.
75 miles or whatever, 60 miles over to San Francisco to play right there on the coast where it's going to be probably freezing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, and they were going to be taking on an SI team coming off a 27-13 loss to St. Francis, in which SI led 13-0 at halftime and gave up 27 unanswered points and 218 second half yards to Kingston. Kiana Aina. There we go. I'll start with Nathan. We're gonna end this with Christian, the expert on these two teams. So Nathan, who you got?
I think in my mind, St. Ignatius is the better team, but in my heart, I just smell an upset. I'm going to go Valley Christian in this one.
Joseph, do you agree?
You know what? I think that St. Ignatius, who seems to be playing their 10th game in a row at home, when's the last time they were on the road? Every one of these games is in San Francisco. I think that, hey, man, they're playing a 5 p.m. game. It's going to be cold with that wind coming off the water. Give me St. Ignatius. I think they bounce back.
I am taking St. Ignatius too. I think they do bounce back. If this game were on the Skyway, I would take Valley, but it's not. So I'm taking SI to win a very close one. Lefkow's taking Valley. The computer is taking SI 19-12. Christian, do you agree with the computer? Do you agree with me? Do you agree with Joseph?
First of all, I want to know how Nathan taught his heart to smell, because that's incredible. So, all that aside, we can get to that at the end of the show. Yeah, it's interesting. You said if SI was going to Valley, you think Valley would pull it out. I think SI just might be the better team. Now, I will say, seeing Valley in person, got a really solid freshman quarterback who can make, the kinds of intermediate throws you need in these games. So I think that would be their path to winning this game. But talking to Lenny Vandermeer after, a really tough loss for SI last week, he was saying, we've been a second half team. This week we were a first half team. We can just put it together. We're going to be a really good team. I think Soren Hummel is going to be really motivated by, some of the struggles that the offense had last week. And I think SI is poised, wacky San Francisco weather, long trip, 5 p.m. start, which is just utterly bizarre. I think they have a lot of things going in their favor this week.
I mean, for Reardon making the short trip, I mean, that's about a freaking 10-minute trip for Reardon, right? To SI. I mean, this is a long, and that was a 5 o'clock start, and Reardon hammered them early, but this is a long way to go for a 5 o'clock on a Friday.
Yeah, they're going to have to leave school early. I mean,
really early.
Yeah. So
So
I don't know if I'm Valley. I just maybe you just don't go to school that day.
Yeah.
Game. You know what I mean?
there you go.
Are you advocating for kids skipping school, Nathan? You're
Oh,
not
no.
a good role
I'm just
model.
excused absence. Excused absence.
Excused
Sorry.
absence. You guys have anything else to add before we wrap up?
Well, we talked about it. I know we talked about it internally, but I want to give a shout out to Gunn. They've allowed 8 points all year, and those all came in one game. So they have really turned things around. They run the ball. Their defense is obviously dominant. They basically don't concede any points to anyone. So I know they're not in our rankings right now, but I tell you what, they finished the year undefeated. It might just show up. So shout out to Gunn and what they've done this year.
There you go. Joseph, you want to give a shout out to John Beam?
Give a shout out to John Beam. He's going to retire after this year. He's had a great 20-year career at Laney, and he won a national championship, or at least a state championship there. And the thing is, he was probably even more accomplished at Skyline. You talk to anyone in Oakland at any school involved in sports, they know who John Beam is. They have great respect for him. And he made sure to tell me, hey, man, this is not the end of the road for him. He's going to still stay involved around Oakland and try new things. He's just ready to stop coaching for a bit and do other things.
Very good. Nathan, you got a closing shot?
Yeah,
Shout
I'll keep it in Oakland. Caleb Rollins yesterday went for over 250 yards and 5 touchdowns. I think he might, he's a tremendous player. Got to see him up close. Really, I mean, he also state basketball champion. Really, I mean, two-way player, two-sport player. Might be one of the better two-sport players we have in the area. So shout out to Caleb Rollins.
There you go. All right. That will be a wrap for week 9 of the high school football season. Check us out, mercurynews.com, eastbaytimes.com. Sign up for that digital subscription. We're still piling them up as the season moves along. And we're just a few weeks away from playoff football. So I'm sure you guys can't wait.
Cannot wait. Best time of the year.
There you go. And soon we will be transitioning into basketball and soccer. So anyhow, that's a wrap for week 9 of the high school football season.